Good evening, viewers, and welcome to another journey with D&J Drives. Today is Saturday, the 22nd of June 2024, and it is just a quarter after 5 in the evening. Well, to be exact, it's 5:17. Today's drive is going to be very special because it covers grassroots Barbados housing areas, very special areas that showcase everyday living in Barbados and the parts of Barbados that made Barbados what it is today. Unfortunately, the government and the residents have been able to keep those areas intact, unlike some countries that sort of shut down older dwelling areas in favor of tall buildings and shopping malls. Barbadians have been able to keep some of these areas intact, where children can grow up and they play on the roads and have their fun. They play football, they play road tennis. So we're gonna start, that's the context for this video, and we're gonna start from the Fontabelle area. We are approaching the LC Payne roundabout, and that's the Port Authority right ahead of us, that lovely new building. If cruise ships were in, you would be seeing one right about now, but it's just sky that you can see there because there are no cruise ships in, at least none docked on that side. Just gonna take the roundabout slowly to give you a view. That's the Kensington Oval down there. Right, that's the entrance to the port. So that's a lovely way to begin the journey, for you to see the LC Payne roundabout as we approach the Kensington Oval. And for context, it is currently approximately 29 degrees Celsius, and today is the day after that cricket T20 World Cup match featuring the West Indies and the USA, of which the West Indies clobbered them. And out here was a sea of people last night celebrating, and then tomorrow will be the match featuring, we just passed Kensington Mall, but we were planning to stop there, but the noise, that's Cricket Legends there. That's where you can come and get all of your it's like a cricket museum, and you can get some history of the cricketers, and you can buy your gear there, your jerseys and various cricket items. So tomorrow will be England and the USA at the Kensington Oval. So right now this is cricket time, and history in the making, because this is Cricket Legends that we're entering. It's history in the making because the World Cup is being hosted by the West Indies and the USA, and the final match will be held at the Kensington Oval. So this is the side of the Cricket Legends building, and this is Fontabelle. That house probably has some historic significance, maybe a plantation house, I have no idea. But you can see this building here is called Kensington Court, and if you look ahead you can see the lights with the Kensington Oval. So that's context. You can see a stand there as we turn out. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Hewitt stand out there, but that's subject to correction. I'm sure the viewers will correct me. So this is Fontabelle, Barbados. It used to be a largely residential area You have the Nation newspaper on the right, Nation headquarters, and we have covered this area before, so we'll just go quickly through. This area used to be, and this is the Barbados Advocate on the right, this area used to be middle class, upper middle class residential. Many years ago in the 1930s, based on my research of the area from chatting with older folk. And we want to, the highlight of this tour today will be Chapman Lane. We can take a left here at Lake's Folly, but we want to go through from the city. So anyone seeing this video who is in Barbados for cricket, if you have some time and it's an early match, for example, the match tomorrow should be finished by 2 or 3 o'clock, you can take a safe walk into the city. It would still be daylight, and from the Kensington Oval into this area, you get a feel for Barbadian life. Meet the locals and understand, you know, how they see things, the average Barbadian. This church here on the left is the St. Mary's Church, and we've mentioned that a number of times in our videos, so no need to expound on that now. There's some event being hosted at the St. Mary's Church because there are a lot of police, such as this one on the left here, and the gates are closed, and we can see patrons entering from the back side, or this pedestrian gate right here. So we are facing the city center car park, multi-level parking facilities, or facility. It's city center mall at the bottom, but multi-level parking at the top. So let's go. This is unknown to many, because you know, when people come to visit Barbados, they tend to see the hotels and so on. This is where people live, and it's, you know, it's, you hear people talk about, well, I live in town, right? So this is Bridgetown, and this is where people live, you know. That's the entrance to the church there at the back. You can see people standing. That's Mason Hall Street on the right, and we will go there, but we want to go to Chapman Lane first. We are on St. Mary's Row, which is behind St. Mary's Church, and it's areas like these where road tennis was invented in Barbados, and road tennis is quickly becoming a well-known sport internationally. So here we are making a right turn onto Chapman Lane. This is a very special area. Look at the architecture, look at the houses and their proximity to the road. Now, just to give you an example of a right turn off Chapman Lane, just show you what this one looks like, but we're not going down, but it's just to give you an idea of how narrow it is. And this is where one vehicle at a time should enter, and the residents, their doors open onto the streets. So this is why Barbados was able to create road tennis, because some of these residents in years past, this is Emerton Lane on the right, some of them would have tremendous talent, but probably couldn't afford the costs associated with lawn tennis. So they created, now look at this example here. Look at those three houses, the green, the wooden, and the yellow. This is what happens with the area over time. Some are able to develop their properties, some can just maintain them and keep the original architecture going, and then some can't afford to keep them up. Ahead you can see those children there riding. You can see people sitting on the side of the road. Very peaceful communities. So this Chapman Lane, oh, he nearly fell. This Chapman Lane is a very well-known area in town, in the city, and there are many people who originated from Chapman Lane who are very successful professionals in various fields of endeavor today, and they're very proud of the fact that they came from Chapman Lane. It remains a very humble area, but still peaceful. Of course, there's crime like everywhere else, but that's not our focus today. So we will just turn here. And you can see there's Rock Gap. This is Kensington New Road. This road goes all the way from behind the Oval, and you can see very, very close-knit houses. Very special area. Many older Barbadians would know out here. The 6th Avenue, the Orleans on the left. Kensington New Road here. Very narrow. Luckily it benefited from the road rehabilitation program. And it's, you know, just a peaceful drive this Sunday evening. Now you turn, you'll get an idea of how inner city this is, because this is Tudor Street that we're approaching, and that's in the heart of Bridgetown. So you just drove with us from a residential area immediately into Tudor Street, from Kensington New Road into Tudor Street, and suddenly there's shopping, there's, you know, public transportation, commercial stores such as the one on the left. So it's a very peculiar experience, but that's what inner city living is. And so I was explaining about the road tennis. So we go from Tudor Street to Reed Street, and these areas here, I'm sure we are going to encounter a road tennis court shortly. What they did is that they painted an area just on the road, painted it green, and set up a court, like a table tennis board or a tennis court. Ahead of us you can see the other side of the city center car park, and take a note of the architecture here. So they set up the tennis court on the road and created a set of rules and rackets, and created road tennis. And road tennis is being pushed by Barbados to be known as a sport in itself, to get its own recognition as a sport. Just turning here to show you how narrow this, I can't even turn because it's so narrow, but that's just a road off Reed Street. Just trying to give you an example of how close it is. This is Reed Street, and if we stop here you can just get an idea of, oh, there's a police vehicle coming, so we can't stop now. Allow the police to pass. So we're on Reed Street and we turn right so you can see the city center car park there. Turn right onto St. Mary's Row. So that's the back of the church. We just came here. With our videos, you will end up seeing some places more than once as we try to cover the area well. Suttle Street, well, this is Mason Hall Street, and we come to Emerton Lane. Take a note of the architecture. This seems to be a mechanic operating there. It's a very quiet day this evening, so it's a nice time to do a video because there's no traffic congestion per se. Most places are closed, so we just come back to Tudor Street. Back onto Reed Street. The specialness of Chapman Lane can't be taken for granted. And it can't be said enough because there are so many people who have the street has such historical significance. It's worth a drive down there. Of particular interest is the proximity of the road, the homes to the roads. It can't be said enough how important and how special these areas are, especially Chapman Lane. I know so many people who originated from there. So this is now Suttle. We're on Suttle Street, and we turned right here just now at Mason Hall Street. Now Suttle Street leads into St. Mary's Row, which is where we are now. Printry out here, a car rental company. So St. Mary's Row is a mixture of residential and commercial, because it's a main road, but it doesn't take away. So this right turn here is Chapman Lane again, We are going out from St. Mary's Road to what they refer to as Lakes Folly. Lakes Folly, some narrow roads here. We're just gonna turn here and then reverse. We can't even pass there. I wouldn't risk it, but this is just to give you an idea of what the dwellings look like. Dwelling houses. Now we just have to hope and pray that we can reverse onto this main road without incident. Let's hope for the best. Just inch out. And we have been successful. So this Lakes Folly is also very heavily populated by the Islamic community. Many of them have their stores here. Some of them live here. We also had a video recently where we showed you where the more affluent set live. So you leave Lakes Folly and get back onto Fontabelle. So if we were to go right across by those buses, we can get to Princess Alice Highway and the seaport, which we've covered extensively already. And if we went left, we head back down to City Centre Mall and into Bridgetown. We are turning right so that we can show you a bit more of the area. Remember, our goal today is to showcase long-standing, old-time residential areas that define traditional Barbadian life before everybody was very educated and had tremendous wealth. This is where most people lived. So we just passed Brancas and we are in Fontabelle. This is Kensington New Road. One car at a time. And you can see many of the Muslims. Look, there's one on a motorcycle. There's a mosque out here. So, and it's 5:49, so can see some of them on the left. Kensington New Road. Look at the size of that. Just turn in here so that you can see it. I once drove an 84-year-old Barbadian who lived overseas from the 1940s. I once drove him through here and he was shocked to see the number of members of the Islamic community and this entire mosque. He's very surprised by this development because when he was a child in Barbados, it just didn't exist. But there's a large Islamic community in Barbados and many of them live here on this very Kensington New Road, which was recently resurfaced and some of them were interviewed and expressed gratitude to government for fixing some of the challenges with this road. Kensington New Road is a very well-known area, and it's worth the drive. And again, look at the architecture and the opportunities for development. So if we turn here off Kensington New Road onto Rock Gap, this area here is really I find it very, very exciting to be here. You can get to see what this community does. On a Saturday evening, just spending time relaxing, drinking, arguing, debating, just regular village life. And again, look at how close the front doors to these homes are to the vehicles right outside. To be very careful. There have been times when there have been stories of high crime in these areas, but all of these things are relative. You don't want to live in fear that you can't get around Barbados. This is the Orleans, New Orleans, and it, of course, sometimes it's had a bad rep, but as you can see, we're driving through the area without incident, and there's nothing to fear. And this is just like Trinidad. People talk about Trinidad as if, some people expect you can see a bedhead from that window. Some people expect that and look at this two-story wooden house. Now you would see that very, very frequently in Guyana, 2- and 3-story properties. To your right is a 2-story wooden house. This home here is probably 80 plus years. So I was saying it's just like Trinidad, where people are shocked. Some people are shocked when we show them areas in Trinidad with tremendous development, because everybody thinks Trinidad, because of how it is portrayed on the news, that Trinidad is, you step out and you're in a war zone and you will be shot dead if you step foot. But this is the same for this area. There are some people who say, boy, you can't go in those areas, but here it is that we are driving through without issue. Our only challenge is the narrowness of the road, but you can see how quaint it is with these homes. It's like a V.S. Naipaul or Paul Keen's Douglas narrative. You can almost hear their voices describing areas like this. This is 6th Avenue, New Orleans. there are so many areas to turn here that I want to show you as much of it as possible. Just make sure the traffic. So 6th Avenue, New Orleans. This is one of the more popular avenues, as you can get right across. You can see there are no bullets. Everything just appears peaceful. I'm not advocating walking here at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, but it's an area that may have a bad rap, but some of it is unjustified, and nowhere is perfect. So I'm not saying that it's a crime-free area. I'm saying that it is just like any other area in any other country. And I draw the reference to Trinidad, which also takes a beating in the public domain, unjustifiably so. Back onto Kensington New Road. That's Rock Gap again, where we turned a short while ago. And look at how many people you're seeing just sitting at the side having a drink, just minding their own business. No problem. So we exit Chapman Lane, the feature of this video, and begin the end. We are beginning to narrate the end of today's video, because we want to exit Chapman Lane and take you to Kensington Oval, where we will end. So we drove through here. We are exiting Chapman Lane. We took a drive through the Orleans, 6th Avenue. And of course, there's much more to the Orleans, to New Orleans. There are different avenues. We just took you right through Avenue number 6. But you can walk around there. And as you saw, there are many people just sitting. If you have any questions about Barbados, you can stop and talk to these residents. If you're here for the cricket and you just want to learn about Barbados, you know, if you feel unsafe, leave your jewelry home or leave your jewelry in your hotel if you're a tourist, and just take a walk down, because you can't drive here on cricket days. You have to park and ride. So if you wanted to walk right down from Kensington Oval to this area, you can come and talk to people and find out about the history of Barbados and what it was like for them growing up, because many of those residents have been there all their lives, especially the older ones. This is all they know, right? So I'm just showing you here Fontabelle again. The landmark is the Advocate newspaper on the left, and then you have Kensington New Road right here. Take a walk down there. Look at the mosque. It's a beautiful structure. Beautiful structure. And you will be walking down Fontabelle. This is Fontabelle. We are heading towards the Oval. You would be leaving the Oval. It's a short walk. Cricket legends to the left, and this drive is the brainchild of my son, and he insists that we need to show areas like these that don't get much coverage, and I can assure you it is safe. Never mind what people say. We are here entering the Kensington Oval. Ahead of us is the Greenwich and Haynes stand. This is the actual stand here. Herman Griffith Gate. We are behind the Kensington Oval, and we're ending the video here because it's World Cup cricket and it's historic. When next will the region have the experience of hosting a World Cup? Just missed the turn there. When next will the region have the opportunity of hosting the World Cup? So while we focus on, this is where they enter, coming into the cricket through here. This little office here is where the tickets are sold. You can see the queues there, and this is where the tickets are sold. You can see the queues there, and that's Fontabelle Main Road out there. Just turn. So on the days of cricket, you find people standing out here selling tickets to try to make a profit on it. That's the ticketing booth. You can see the 3W's oval there, the 3W stand, sorry. So while the cricket is being hosted here, and the final match will be here, so it's a big deal for Barbados. You're going to be seeing lots of footage of Barbados, showing you lovely areas. Well, there are other lovely areas as well. There are 3 statues out here, 3 monuments: Garfield Sobers, and West Hall, and I can't remember who the third one is, but you're seeing the front of it there. This is our effort at showing you the other parts of Barbados that you wouldn't necessarily see, but which are equally important. So you come here and you can see there are tourists taking pictures. Just want to give you a shot of the 3 statues. That's it. The 3 statues. Kensington Oval. I hope that's a good angle for the camera. Just try to go back a bit. Right, that captures it well. So you have Garfield Sobers in the middle. That was the first statue. Then you have West Hall on the right and Charlie Griffith on the left. As you enter the Kensington Oval, you can see these, and of course they are all knighted. There's Sir Wesley Hall and Sir Charles Griffith and Sir Garfield Sobers, and that gives you, that's the main stand there, the 3W's, Weeks, Worrell, Walcott. We've covered them before. So all of this fencing is up because obviously the World Cup is happening, but usually you can just walk right onto it and admire the whole facility. And the point has to be made that this oval as some describe it, this iconic oval is one of the top 3 ovals of the world. And the residents of Chapman Lane and Kensington New Road and the Orleans, these are the people who call this their neighborhood. And of course, when there's cricket being played here, everyone sees the Kensington Oval without even understanding its geographic significance with respect to these areas. So D&J Drives has covered it today, and hopefully it's now a documented fact. You can see those stands out there being called the Grand Stand now. Those are newly erected stands for the cricket, for the World Cup, and it is said that they will be there permanently. So we are just going to exit here. Just trying to give you a geographic perspective of the area. Right, this is called President Kennedy Drive. This is the neighborhood of the Kensington Oval. We are currently on Westbury Road. Just exited and on to Pickwick Gap. So you have all these avenues on Pickwick Gap. 2nd Avenue, when cricket is being played, there's 3rd Avenue on the right, 10th Avenue. This is the back of that stand. It's being called the Grand Stand. And initially when it was being, so this is 4th Avenue, Pickwick Gap on our right, leading directly onto the John Goddard Gate. So it was said that these stands here would be temporary, but we're now being told it's permanent. So we're just turning here to show you the back of it. And again, these are where people live. This is where people live at the back here. Right behind the Kensington Oval. Very small residential area here. And there you have it, at the back of the grandstand. So at the cricket last night, there were 10,250 patrons packed the Oval to come and support the West Indies as they demolished and humbled the USA team. Good. So we said this was the beginning of the end. This is us heading down 4th Avenue, Pickwick Gap. Doesn't appear that we can pass because this vehicle is having a little chat with these residents. So that's President Kennedy Drive there, where we just drove. And we just turn here. It's very narrow. You can see the windows and the front door of this home in relation to where the vehicle is parked. So for context, there's the grandstand to your right. I'm not sure if the camera picked it up. And when they are roaring and cheering, all of these residents feel the vibrations and hear the loud, thunderous applause for every 6 and every 4, or the agony of a wicket being taken. Pickwick Gap. These are some of the regular, everyday residential areas in Barbados. We are happy to showcase them. As noted earlier, they may tend to be overlooked. Risk of repeating myself, this drive is being used in the context of the cricket to highlight areas associated with cricket. The residents who are part of it, who support it, who have businesses selling hot dogs and burgers and various things along the road that make the cricket experience what it is. Hopefully this video reaches some of the attendees of these matches and you can get a feel for the other side of the cricket other than what you're being shown on TV. So back onto President Kennedy Drive. No need to explain to you why this road is so named. it is named for. So as we pass the Kensington Oval again, these barriers here are where you normally would be able to just walk off the road onto the Oval and take your photographs. And here's where we will end today's video. At the Mecca, the Kensington Oval, Bridgetown, Barbados, Fontabelle, St. Michael. Thank you for spending this time with us, and we hope you enjoyed this drive that was designed by my son. Saying goodbye from D&J Drives at 6:14 p.m. June 22nd, 2024. Goodbye.